What's up YouTube people? We are back, and this time in glorious HD, so you can see wonderful things, not my face, but like this Dell Poweredge 840. Now, this thing I was using basically as an electronic filing cabinet. This I picked up for £10 a couple of years ago, and it had already had a few sexy modifications done to it. I've recently replaced it. There is a video coming up fairly soon in regards to the new server that we have, which is nothing amazingly special. It's a new system based on socket 1150 with a little dual core Pentium in it. Surprisingly, I mean, it is consumer grade hardware, it's not actual server hardware, but surprisingly it's actually a lot more efficient and a lot more powerful than this poor blessed old creature. So, what have we got in here? Now, I'm going to try and remember this off the top of my head. We have an Intel Xeon X3210. That's a quad-core CPU running at 2.13 GHz. I remember the hardest bit. The other thing that we've got is we've got 4 GB of DDR2 ECC memory. That is unbuffered. We're going to have a little look inside the machine, and then I'm going to reinstall the old hard drive, start the system up, and hopefully, if everything goes well, it should automatically log in to the main profile that it used to before, and I shouldn't need a keyboard for that situation. And there's a reason I say that. I may have had a little bit of a clear up recently and thrown away my old keyboards, including the keyboard that I actually needed for this. So, huge fail on my part, absolute massive fail. Fails all around for everybody. Whoops. Yeah, so when you're going to throw away bits and pieces, just make sure that you don't need it. So I'm going to get that hard drive installed. Then we're going to remove me from the equation completely, and we're going to have a look at this, see what the specifications are. I can't imagine, to be quite honest, we're going to be doing benchmarking, and we're going to see what latest AAA titles play on it and whatever else. This machine is like 8 years old, roughly. It has a built-in 4 MB video card. The only port that's on it, in fact, I'll spin it round. Hopefully this will work and you'll be able to see. Oh no, there we go. The only ports that we actually have are, well, you've got your power plug, we've got a PS2 keyboard and mouse, we've got a serial port, VJ port, 2 USBs, and a Intel Gigabit NIC, which was actually alright, to be quite honest. I was surprised. But, famous jump cup time. Jump cup. When I said fails all around, I didn't mean for it to actually keep happening. I was kind of taking the Michael, so please, let's stop that. Jump cut. Yay! I'm on the other side of the video this time. Right, okay, so here it is in all its naked glory. Please forgive all the random computer junk and stuff that's over there, as I'm still, weirdly enough, in the process of finishing off my new X99 build. Do you want to have a sneak peek? Go on then. That's it, that's all you're seeing. You're seeing nothing else at all. I'm going to try and up my production values and whatnot for that machine, so let's focus on this. So, as you can see, we have space for 2 DVD drives, etc., whatever you want to put in there. We've got space for 3.5-inch drives. This particular machine did come with options for a floppy drive and whatnot. We have a hard drive cage. Now, in order to install and remove hard drives, you need to undo the 3 screws that are there, whip this out. There's no hard drive installed at the moment, but I will shortly be putting back in the Western Digital 640 gig drive, simply so that you can see the machine up and running. So let's have a look inside. Now, I haven't cleaned it because I didn't see the point, really. If anything, it's kind of nice to see what it looks like when it's been running for a year, nearly a year and a half, solidly. I mean, that's all day, every day. The only time this machine actually went down was for weekly maintenance, where it had a little bit of a clear out every week. not physically cleared out, as you can see by random dust particles and snipped cable tie bits, etc. You know, but hey, it works. Now, take a nice deep breath. As you can probably kind of gather, this is a regular ATX machine, or ATX tower case anyway. It is possible to reuse this chassis to install a regular PC in, although unless you've got a real thing for Dells, I don't see the point, to be quite honest. The other things that you've got, a nice little basement that I used down there, which obviously it's not a basement, by the way. You're supposed to have a fan, which was an optional extra from Dell, that bolts in here, plugs into this sorry you can't see that there, plugs into this 5-pin PWM fan header, and then blows some cool air and whatnot for RAID cards and stuff that you've got plugged in there. Hence why you've got these rails as well. So obviously you've got full length cards, they've got something to slide into. What else can I say about this? Well, I would be lying if I said this was the original motherboard. It's not. It's identical to the original motherboard. There was a small issue where, again, I had another fail, like my jump cup that I just had a moment ago, in which I was trying to install an aftermarket CPU cooler, even though, well, it didn't go well. The problem is, this is a socket 775 based system, or at least the mounting should be, and it has a weird proprietary cooler design and layout. So if you can get aftermarket cooler to fit this, good luck, first of all, and if you do manage it by some miracle, please do let me know so that I can kiss your feet, because I was not able to do it. In terms of cooling, what have you got for this mystical Xeon beast that's under here? A black plastic shroud, which there's a tab on the back, there we are, which you release, and out it comes. One very large noisy exhaust fan, which, by the way, I didn't actually put this cover on. That is how it came from Dell. And apart from a plug there, which we'll undo, it is literally a one-click scenario thing. There we are. So it's kind of modular, sort of modular, not quite, but still. Now here we are with the passive CPU cooler, or rather semi-passive CPU cooler, and as you can see, it is kind of a weird design. So on a 775, normally your holes would be sort of there and there, you know, it's splayed out in kind of a cross pattern. On this, it's not. It's more reminiscent, actually, of AMD's type of socket. Although, yes, I did see if it was possible to install a socket AM3 bracketry on there to use the bracketry and a cooler for socket AM3 on an Intel socket, which is kind of weird. But no, it didn't work and it doesn't line up. So what happened with the fail on the last board? Well, I cut up some custom bracketry and was in the process of fitting it, and it did fit and it did work, apart from the fact that I may have driven a screw a little bit too far forward and it hit the board and cut up some of the traces. So yeah, that died. The replacement board was not a massive amount of money, to be quite honest. The only issue that it had, which is kind of weird, the BIOS was not updated. I do believe I was running BIOS A08 on this system. It would be nice if you weren't just looking at that and actually looking at the board and that. Yeah, I believe I was running BIOS A08. This is running A00, which is the first release BIOS for the board. Strangely, A08 was supposed to give support for the quad-core Intel Xeons, which obviously it was because my previous system was running perfectly fine. I installed A08 on this board and it crapped out completely. It wouldn't boot at all. Thank God I had a spare socket 775 Pentium 4, which valiantly came to the rescue. So yeah, this machine works with the Pentium 4, by the way. I was able to put the Pentium 4 in and then reinstall this BIOS and then put this CPU back in, and it worked anyway. Yeah, I even phoned Dell and even they were like, what? Even they didn't get it. And to be honest, I was speaking to somebody who was pretty knowledgeable and, you know, was able to guide us through a few bits and pieces. I unfortunately can't remember their name, which is kind of embarrassing really, but it was like a few months ago, so I can be forgiven for that, I suppose. But yeah, even Dell themselves were like, say what? Even they didn't get it. This is the original power supply for the machine, you know, changing subject probably. This is, because there's nothing else left to talk about on that one. This is the original power supply. Damn, these get hot. They really do. As you can see, I've had to kind of makeshift add another fan there, because the capacitors and that on this side of the power supply, geez, they get hot. When the machine is off, and I mean completely off, the power supply fan still spins as well. So what I did was, we got kind of ghetto again, and I got one of these Molex to Molex with a cable coming off it to a 2-pin fan to obviously just make the fan run. And it did, and it worked. I can honestly say it didn't cut any of the noise down, and this machine is one noisy bugger. But yeah, did the job. One of the other things that I did as well before I stuck it in the alcove in my desk, which for some strange reason doesn't want to take any format of PC at all, was I drilled out the original feet. Now they were rubber feet, in fact they are here, as you can see, with some kind of proprietary screws there. And what happened was you put them screws through the feet have got sticky pads on them as well, just for additional extra security. I mean, this machine is a server and it was designed to be sat in an office where people are just going to sort of push it and not really care. But anyway, you put the feet underneath and then the screw comes through into the hole. Now you may be thinking, well, how does one of those little screws that are in that baggie go in that hole? Well, here's the answer. It doesn't at all. What I did was I got a tap and die set, and in order to kind of get the machine a little bit further off the floor and whatnot at the time, I actually cut that out completely and put in some casters. Yeah, I know. I don't even understand why I did that, to be quite honest, but, you know, hey, I did it, and, well, there you go. So, that's a quick look inside the machine. So, again, let's do another jump cut, and then we'll have a little look at what comes on the screen. Okay, so we are back. I haven't started the machine yet, as you can see if my tripod plays ball. Obviously this machine has chassis intrusion, etc., and it's saying no, don't like it, and the whole thing. Also it's saying the power's off and stuff. I have, although I can't really show you without tilting the tripod, in fact I'm going to tilt the tripod. I have put the hard drive, as you can see, just kind of laying in there. I know some people will probably have a screaming fit about that. Oh, you shouldn't do that to hard drives, etc, etc. Here's the thing. That hard drive has, as far as I'm concerned, reached the end of its serviceable life and is no longer of any use to me. So what's going to happen is when I finish this video, that hard drive is basically going to get wiped and then is going to be destroyed. So for anybody who's saying, oh, you shouldn't do that with the hard drives and stuff and have it laying on the floor and things, yep, 100% agree with you completely in every way, shape and form. However, I don't care, because it's only got about 5-10 minutes of life left before it gets wiped, and then it gets physically smashed with a hammer before being disposed of in 3 separate bins. So yeah, I take data protection very seriously, and that hard drive has had some sensitive information on it. Now, focus camera, this is your first proper outing, my friend, so let's impress, shall we? So what we're going to do is we're going to start the machine up. You get to hear how loud it is as well. Oh yeah! Now, I would show you the BIOS, however, as I've said to you, I seem to have an absence of a keyboard, which the machine is also letting us know. I'm just hoping that this actually works and that it is just going to load the operating system, or rather not. That's kind of annoying, isn't it? Let's see what happens if I restart. Hopefully it's just gonna get on with it, because I did use this machine headless without it. Basically it had a network card in there with a couple of RJ45s and the power cable, and that was it. So I know it can start without the keyboard. It's just going to be a case of, does it want to start without the keyboard? And you get to hear the epic fan again. The epic fan's awesome. Come on, little Dell. You know you want to start without the keyboard. Come on, come on. Get on with it. Come on, come on. Damn you, you damn thing. Right. Plan option B2 C3. I'm going to grab the keyboard off my main machine and hopefully that will work. Okay, so we are back and I have put my Corsair K30 on the machine and it's loading Windows Server 2008, which, FYI, I have since upgraded to Windows Server 2012 R2 for those who are interested. Wow, I could have shown you the BIOS and everything now, but I hit F1 and it all worked and I couldn't be bothered to go back, so I'm not going to be bothered to go back. Because, yeah, fish! Fish! There's my fishy! Oh, I miss my fishy. I haven't got it on the other server for some reason. I couldn't be bothered setting any backgrounds or anything. Oh, FYI, yeah, it does take a few minutes to start. He says. As for my other system, yeah, believe it or not, this is still not ready to go. With the new server that we've built, I got when I built my sister and brother-in-law's PC, which you should have seen that video if you've looked at my channel. If you haven't, then have a look. It'll either be up there or in the description if I can't figure out how to use the cards and everything. Yeah, definitely have a look at that. One of the things I got was for my continued loyalty to where I purchased them from, although they've not sponsored me or anything, so I'm not going to mention the name. Ha 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 ha. I got a 60GB Kingston SSD. Can't remember the exact model and whatnot because, well, to be honest, it's inside the server and I've thrown the packaging in with the box of stuff to go in the loft, so I can't remember exactly what it is. But anyway, and I was wondering, well, what do you do with a 60GB SSD, blah 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 blah, and that kind of kicked off, well, let's replace the server. Yeah, that went well. So, first of all, well, yeah, there we are. Let's get rid of FileZilla. Obviously this machine's not connected to the internet or anything anymore, and if it did, as it's using the same names for the FTP server and everything else, it will probably have a bit of a crap fit with my other machine, so yeah. Oh yeah, it did also run a PS3 media server software as well. So having a look in Device Manager, if you guys can see, I'm going to try out my fantastic new zoom function. Ooh, 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 ooh. It would help if my tripod wasn't as stiff as it is. It seems a bit... Ha! I'm glad I stopped that quickly. That could have gone a bit wrong. So we'll zoom in, kind of. There we are. I apologise, guys. I'm still getting used to this kind of stuff. Right, yeah. That's probably about as good as it's going to get unless I really zoom you in. Like that. What have we got? Display adapter, an ATI ES 1000. Let's have a little look at the driver for that. This is the latest driver as well, is from 2009. Check that out. At least it's a year after the operating system, I suppose. In fact, let's have a little look at the advanced settings for the display. Ah, there we go. No, I was wrong. It wasn't 4 meg, 16 meg. And that's going to be on the chip, the memory, I would have thought. There's no additional dedicated video memory, there's no additional shared memory, no nothing. List all modes. Yeah, basically it will do whatever this monitor will do that's plugged into it, which is 1280 by 1024, I believe. Can't really say much else about that, to be quite honest. DVD, CD-ROM, etc. Yes, there was an emulated disk drive on there for numerous reasons that I don't want to go into. Broadcom Net Extreme Gigabit Ethernet. Oh, well, that's interesting. I thought it was an Intel chip. Oh no, wait. There is a difference between my old board and my new board. My old board had an Intel onboard network card. This one has a Broadcom. Ah, yes, there was a difference. Although I can't see that being the reason for my little update problem with the BIOS. Anyway. CPU, obviously, as you can see, Intel Xeon X3210 at 2.13 gig. Hey, at least I got something right, so there we are. That's not too bad. As for storage controllers, the IDE controller is an AKQ8F570 IDE controller. Who's that made by? Nobody, apparently. And I don't know off the top of my head who that was made by, so I have no idea. There is SATA ports on here, and that's USB ports, idiot. Can't remember where they are, to be quite honest, but it's kind of irrelevant. So yeah, that's that. Activated copy of this stuff. So let's zoom out. Oh, that's the wrong way. Zoom out. Have a little look at the system. So effectively, yeah, that's the Dell Poweredge 840, and honestly, for the time that I had it, even though I had it second hand, it's a damn fine little machine, to be quite honest. The CPU, whilst old, yeah, I mean the TWP on that's only 105 watts, I believe, so it's not that bad. And as it's just a standard ATX micro tower anyway, there's nothing to stop you really from changing out the power supply for a nice, you know, 80 plus bronze rated or higher PSU. The only thing that you'd have to be mindful of is, well, nothing actually. I was about to say there is a custom connector for the SATA cables for the hard drives and whatnot. It goes into a special block connector. I think it's by 8 pins big. No, that won't be an issue, because if you replace the power supply, you just rip all that out anyway. The only thing in which I can think that would be an issue is if you were using the Dell RAID controller card, which has got a back plane for the SATA drives, and then you've got caddies and whatnot, so it's all hot swappable. Then it would be an issue, because what you do is you take the SATA cables off that block connector and then plug the block connector into the board for the hard drives. So that's the only time which I can see it's been an issue. If you're using it just as a basic micro tower server and the hard drives are permanently connected, or you've only got one drive or whatever else, then yeah, I see no reason why you can't just replace the power supply, to be quite honest. I've already checked the pin layout for the 24 pin power to the board is the same as what comes off regular power supplies, as is the CPU power plug as well. So again, I can't foresee any issues with that. The only thing that I will say beforehand, check yourself, do your own research, because I'm not responsible if you have one of these machines or one that's similar, you rip it apart, you screw something up, that's your fault, not mine. I'm not encouraging people to do it. I'm just saying from the research I did, it seems that it's more than possible. So, there's nothing else really to say about it, to be quite honest, other than, well, it has been a legendary little machine, and I've thoroughly enjoyed owning it and thoroughly enjoyed working with it. So, I'm going to end the video. Thank you very much for watching. Comment, subscribe, and I will see you all in the next glorious HD video that I make. Bye!